Jarek, you are the first to notice these creatures dive bombing around you. You have three that are potentially closest to you. Um, I would say in the long run, that's all you effectively see at this point. Probably more than likely, you realistically only see two of them currently bombing towards you. What sort of thoughts are going through Jarek's mind right now?
So Jarek, he thinks he spotted, one of his party members off to the north somewhere. Um, before they got before we became aware that of these other things. So Jarek is going to try to move, kind of staying just above the sort of top of the tree line, so about his same elevation he is now. He's going to start kind of flying north. But I think as he's doing so, he's got his blade out. He's says the command word, and you'll see it come into like an arming sword um, form, and um, he's going to, I think, hold an attack if any for the first thing that comes diving in. If something comes diving in to attack him, he'll strike out at it. But for now, just trying to make his way towards where he thinks he may have spotted the others before.
Gotcha. And then to Taryn, you probably realistically are spotting one of the larger creatures, maybe one of the smaller ones, perhaps two of the smaller ones. But effectively, I would say you probably notice the one to the east of you.
The large one to the east of me, how is it comparable to elevation? Sorry.
Effectively, at this point, they are all higher than you all. Um, do, 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 do. I would say at this point they are all probably like 40 to 50 feet away and above you.
Let's see. I can see. Yeah, probably would have noticed Jarek seeing as he's flying. So move closer to him. See how far can I get. So like that. And this I'm gonna add it. Can I cunning action? That is only for dash, disengage, or hide. Yeah, okay. So then I'm just gonna hold my action to swing at one of the flying creatures if they get close enough to me.
I think you can still use your cunning action even if you're gonna. 'Cause that's a bonus action, right?
Yeah, but I was thinking like if I could cunning action dodge, but yeah, no. Figured that would be kind of broken too. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, you can take your action to dodge, cunning action to do something else, but you can't hold an action and dodge.
Yeah, no. So I'm being a bit cautious here, maybe, but yeah, I'm gonna move over there, hold my attack action for any flying creature getting close to me, and that should be it.
All right, so the first of these smaller creatures is going to swoop down and past Silhouette as it flies past you. It is going to kind of stab into your arm with its beak, and it will have a 10 to hit, which will miss. It's going to fly right past Silhouette. These things are so quick that you are not able to strike out as it flies within your reach and is past your reach.
Would brace make any difference there?
I believe, yeah, you do have other abilities, so potentially.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I know Sentinel would help, which I don't have, but I have the maneuver brace, which does allow me to attack someone who comes into my square. But I don't know if that defeats flyby.
If you would like to use your maneuver, you are more than welcome to.
All right, I will.
Big ol' swing and a miss as it passes by too quick.
All right.
Alrighty, from the center, one of these larger creatures is going to fly down, um, and past Jarek. As it flies past, it will do both a attack with its beak, trying to stab through you, as well as attempting to claw at you while it flies past. You are holding your reaction, and you can use that.
Jarek essentially tries to skewer it with the arming sword as it's flying in at him.
Solid strike with that one. First strike with its beak should hit you, and the second strike with its beak, 15 to hit, hits you.
Yep, that's my AC.
So it's going to hit you with both the beak strike for 10 piercing damage, and then as it rakes you with its claws, it's going to deal another 12 damage. Total of 22.
All right, and okay.
Another one of the smaller ones is going to swoop down and strike out at Terran as it flies past you. Same thing, you're holding an attack. You can use it. That will just glance across its shoulders as it flies past you. It is going to miss as it spears for you, and doing 8 piercing. As it kind of like rakes through that creature, you're going to see as your like cut basically like almost disarms like the wing, and like the flutter of the wing is part of how it misses you with its beak. And we're gonna go to another one is going to swoop down and into Terran, trying to strike at you with its beak. Um, what's your AC? 15? Yeah, a big ol' miss. As it tries to spear into you. And then another of the big ones. It is going to. It will as well kind of fly past and down into the canopy as it tries to spear out its silhouette and then rake them with their claws. The beak attack, 12 to hit silhouette, 13's your AC,
Yes.
and then the claws, those will hit, and it's going to deal 8 slashing damage as it flies past you.
Okay.
Um,
I have we did a full rest last week, and I have my current hit points at 16. Were we hit while we were breaking away from the bubble at all?
Yeah, there were a bunch of the Yanti essentially were waiting in ambush. As soon as we tried to break out, we got a bunch of arrows and stuff. So yeah, we
Okay, so that was 8 I just took.
yes. And then after that is going to silhouette.
All right. I would like to use another rib post to hit it.
You don't
Going.
have you don't have a reaction. You get one reaction. You've used it. It's gone.
Okay.
When you start your turn, you get a reaction back when you have your turn. But
Gotcha. All right. I am striking out at it with my rapier.
that one is no longer touching you. It flew well past you. It is about 50 feet below you.
Can I
Right,
get a
right
shot
now
with?
right now you are not in combat with anything.
Can I get a shot with a bow?
Most certainly, but you have to either drop your rapier or sheath it. And if you sheath it, you're not going to have actions to pull a bow.
Uh, I I'm gonna hide. I'll use my action to hide, and if any of them try and come at me again, hopefully I'll be able to spring out of the bushes at them if they just come into the area.
Gotcha. Oh, I know. I'm rolling your stealth. You don't know how hidden you are. Any movement from you?
Yeah, I'll move down to the canopy level.
That was like 40 feet that you just moved.
Okay, I will use my cat-like, my uh, what is it called?
Feline agility.
Feline agility.
And then we have the Pteranodon between those two, going for Terran. Another one swiping past Terran, dive bombing. That one should hit, and it is going to deal 6 piercing damage as it flies past you and like pierces through one of your. It's much more difficult with a character who's going to live through this, but it stabs you with its beak as it kind of flies past you. Giving you like a gaping chest wound this early is just wrong. Last of the big ass mofos is going for Terran as well. And as it flies past you, beak will hit, and then the claws will hit as well. It is going to deal 12 and 10, 22 more damage to you.
Oh, right. I have my reaction back. Yeah. I haven't used one.
You used your reaction to attack. You were holding your action.
Oh, right. That counts as a reaction. Yeah, right. Sorry. Then never mind. And let's make sure it was 12, right? Total.
Indeed. One of the creatures is going to fly down and kind of shriek out below the canopy, and it will go to Jarek.
So Jarek is going to keep trying to get back kind of towards the others. As he's kind of starting to get closer, you can see he's looking like he's in a bit of rough shape. In terms of using a healer's kit, how do you rule that when I already have essentially only have one hand free?
I mean, it's an action to use the healer's kit. For what it's worth, I don't think there's any reason to force it to say that you need two hands to do it. So in the midst of combat, this could be as simple as you're like stuffing like a wadding of bandage inside of like a gaping wound. But as far as I know, the healer's feat doesn't actually say anything about what it takes to do it hand wise. A hand is sufficient to me.
Okay, yeah, it doesn't specify. So, but I've had some people kind of. I'm just thinking like narratively, like I don't want to try and take too much advantage.
Yeah, that's where to me, like, it makes sense. Like, at times, I could see maybe it's more wasteful. We could rule on that in the future. But it doesn't say anything about, like, what it takes you to do. It's just using an action. Um, and that's the thing to me that matters most. If it required two hands, it should say that it takes both hands free. As long as it's kind of set up how it is, that action inside of combat is a lot to give up, and that's what matters.
Okay, yeah. But I think yeah. So Jarek essentially, as he's flying, he's holding the sword in one hand, but he's essentially yeah, like kind of grabbing down and trying to like stuff some like you know like a makeshift poultice or something kind of into one of the wounds. So I'm going to go ahead and use the healer's kit on Jarek. Yeah, we're level 6, right? Yeah. Um, and
Are you still
no.
bloodied after that?
Oh nope. Let me take that off.
Just a reminder while he's doing that. You guys know your hit points. When you go to 50% or lower, throw that little red dot on yourself. When you go to 10 hit points or lower, throw that little pink dot on yourself.
Yeah, I didn't want to describe it last turn just because I wasn't sure if they'd actually be able to see that condition given the distances. But yeah, that he is no longer bloodied after kind of tending to himself, and I think that is going to be my turn.
Gotcha. And with that, we will go to Taryn.
Let's see, the one southeast of me, that should be in my height range, right? Or
Yeah, all of the little creatures are effectively at whatever that is. Like, I didn't actually measure to see how high, but I think that's probably like 75 meters high or 75 feet.
yeah, yes, double checking. That I am going to
125.
I'm going to swing out at it with my dagger.
Solid hit for that one.
And then follow up with an offhand.
And also, that is going to be enough that as you double tap, this little creature is going to fall from the sky. Um, Pretty likely with like a wing cut off as it just kind of plummets down to the canopy below.
And then afterwards, I'm just gonna move closer to Yarrick. Just gonna measure out how far I get. Like that, then. And that's the end of my turn.
One of the little guys is going to bomb down into Silhouette. And is going to try to spear you with its beak. It should hit with a 16, and it's going to deal 7 piercing damage as it flies past you, Silhouette. One of the bigger creatures here is going to fly up and strike into Terran. And it is going to burst through the canopy as it slashes out at you and tries to spear you with its beak. So beak attack. 13 misses, Terran. Claws will hit with a 20, and those are going to do 10 slashing damage as it flies past you.
I am gonna use my reaction on that to uncanny dodge to take 5.
Gotcha. Another little guys is going to swoop back around and try to spear through Terran. So beak attack with that. That is a 10, big ol' miss. And then it is going to let's see, this is the big one that is above Silhouette. This one is going to swoop towards Silhouette, making a beak attack, big ol' miss, claw attack, big ol' miss.
I will attempt to strike out at it using brace.
Go ahead.
Okay, and can I get a booming blade off while doing that?
Nope.
All right.
As it flies past, that is just going to kind of clink off of this thing's flesh and seemingly have no effect. And that will take us back to Silhouette.
All right. I see in the elevation that there are vines. Would it be possible for me to swing on a vine to a next tree and then use candy action to try and stealth there instead of where I am?
You can certainly move about this area. This is a representation. This is not what it is. Everything is still going to involve checks. Even with a climbing speed, when you are running and fighting in a jungle canopy, you could easily fall to the ground.
Okay, will they be acrobatics checks?
They are indeed.
Okay, I am going to attempt to move and rehide myself.
So, what would you like to do?
If I can swing from a vine to a nearby tree, that would be my preference.
Show me where you want to move.
I'll move directly north, like to about.
When I say show me, I want you to move. And then when you go to hide, are you going to move again?
Yeah. I'll move deeper into the tree, and then try and stealth. Now, would that be a movement action and a bonus action for the movement and the stealth?
Depends how far you are moving, and technically trying to hide is at best a bonus action, but you could use your action to do it.
I am going to move.
So switching to that tree, and then you're just going to adjust a little bit. You are staying otherwise at the same height.
Yes, but on top of the movement and the bonus action, I will use my action to cast Minor Illusion to make a particularly thick bunch of leaves around me to further hide me.
You can roll in acrobatics. Yep. You have no problem switching from tree to tree, and you feel rather well hidden as you leap across.
All right, are you rolling my stealth or shall I?
I've rolled it.
Okay, and then I will cast Minor Illusion about me to complete the illusion.
Another of these creatures is going to burst out of the canopy from below as it strikes out at its beak for Terran, and then with its claws, each of those will. And that would take us back around to Jarek. Got a couple of the big ones above you. Pretty much everything else would be out of sight for you at this point.
Okay. Um,
And
I
I
think
think it is the two that are kind of northwest of you. Yep, there's the two that are northwest of you, or north of you, kind of. Those are the two that are above the canopy and kind of visible to you.
okay. I think I'm going to. So Jarek is gonna fly, flying over towards Taryn. I think at this point, being able to see that he's looking pretty bloodied. He's gonna like kind of yell with me, thinking like if maybe we need. Um, he's thinking like we don't want if we get knocked out and we're flying up high in the air, it could be even worse. So he's gonna like it's like with me to Taryn, and then he's gonna start kind of moving down. Um, I think into the trees. I think he can get like 20 feet down because he took 10 feet to hit Taryn. Um, and I think he's gonna hold an action again to just stab out at the first flying thing other than Taryn that comes into reach of him.
Good one. I was going to hold you to that. It'll go to there.
Yeah, seeing Garrick fly down, he's gonna follow. So let's see. Yeah. And then I'm gonna ask if, because I have, what's it called? Fast hands. I'm just gonna ask, would that be able to enable me to use like a potion with a bonus action?
That's how I generally rule it. Potions are technically magical items, but I feel like that is one of the reasons that you should be a thief is to be able to do that. So yes.
Yeah, then I'm gonna pop a potion of healing with my bonus action.
Gotcha. And are you doing anything with your action?
Yeah, I'm just gonna hold it for any of the flying reptiles. They come close to hit them. How much did I roll? 7? Okay.
7. One of the larger creatures is going to fly down past Silhouette and screech out into the air.
Do I think it saw me?
I don't know. Do you think it saw you? The last time they screeched at you, you got attacked right afterwards. One of the little guys is going to fly up and try to spear through Jarek. The two of you can take your reactions here. It's going to do 4 piercing damage to you, Jarek. And I think with that, the two of you are going to cut it down and it will fall through and down into the ground. One of the big ones is going to fly past Terran. And where is it? Coming from below. It is going to spear up through, I guess, what is that middle canopy called? Whatever the middle canopy is called, it's going to spear into Terran with its beak. Big ol' miss. And with its claws, 15, I think, is the hit.
That it is.
It's going to do 9 slashing damage as it claws through you. And that will take us to Silhouette.
Are all the ones on the map visible to me? The 3 that are surrounding me?
Visible and in cover are different things, but I think you can see the 2 small ones.
Okay, whichever one I have the clearest shot at, I'm gonna firebolt it.
All right, roll for a firebolt. I think that'll probably hit.
Okay, so 14 damage, and then I'm going to use the rest of my action to move and bonus action hide again. And if I can move to about here.
As the firebolt hits that creature, it's going to kind of singe its flesh, seems to kind of fall from the sky, and it's going to plummet down into the earth. Do another acrobatics for me. One of the little guys is going to fly near Silhouette before screeching out. And then this one is going after going to swoop. I think this one, yeah, is above, down through the canopy, and try to attack Terran with beak first, and then claws second. Beak's going to be a big ol' miss as it pushes through the trees. The claws should rake through you, and it's going to deal 8 more slashing damage. Let's see. moving a creature twice is a lot of work. This one is coming from below. It is going to go for, damn it. Terran as well with a beak attack. That one should hit, and it is going to do 6 piercing damage as it stabs through you with its beak. And that will take us back to Jarek, followed by Terran.
All right, so Jarek is going to try to mend up Terran a bit. Again, kind of just very, very kind of haphazardly almost, as he's kind of like maintaining concentration on his flying, just kind of trying to press some stuff into his wounds. Before he continues, he's going to fly north and further down into the trees. So, um, so essentially 15 feet north, he's kind of going diagonal. So 15 feet to his like kind of northeast and 15 feet down further into the trees as he goes.
I mean, again, especially if you're flying diagonally, you don't have to go 15 and 15. Unless you're flying in an L, that's not moving 30 feet. Like, Gary Gygax doesn't know math. There's no difference between the hypotenuse.
Okay, so he'll essentially going in that sort of diagonal, he'll get as far northeast as he can. I don't remember my geometry about.
Yeah, I think that's 25 feet of movement where you're at right now. No, that's just 20. You could move another 10.
Okay. Yeah, so he'll get to there.
And then to Terran.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to follow. Yeah, let's see.
Oh, and Taryn, you added back those 13 hit points, right?
Oh, right, I haven't done that yet. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah, let's see. How far is that?
Is Terran still bloodied?
That is. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to. Yeah, I'm gonna use my cunning action dash so I can get as far as Yarrick. And then the regular just hold my action for any flying reptiles coming near us.
Gotcha. So the next creature to the north of Silhouette is going to fly down past you. It is going to spear you with its beak for 6 piercing damage, and then rake you with its claws for 10 slashing.
Okay, I am unconscious. I need a death save.
No death saves. Yeah, I guess it's just one fall damage, but you're about to take some fall damage. Eight d6. 27 should not be enough for a kill, but that is one death save failure going.
All right.
Yeah, so Jarek and Terran are going to see as one of these creatures flies past them with its wings pretty much completely kind of like pulled in towards its body. And it is going to come through the canopy like a arrow, flying straight through these trees, and it is chasing Silhouette's body to the ground before you all will hear at that last minute the thump of Silhouette, and then a softer thump of this creature landing beside. Silhouette, I need you to switch over to GM Whisper and roll a death saving throw. This won't count unless it is whispered.
Okay, I am not seeing GM Whisper. Where is that?
If you just roll a d20 and roll 20, you can just click on the polyhedron to the left of your screen. It's towards the bottom of that little drop down menu. And you can just select at the top left, it says GM. That switches the d20 roll to a whisper. That
Okay.
works. Otherwise, with Beyond 20, if you click on the little red die, um, always whisper is an option that you can set to. Some, what is it called? Yeah, whisper rolls. And then if you switch that over, you can actually roll like a death save from D&D Beyond, but they're both just a d20.
Um. Okay, where is death saves on the D&D Beyond? I don't even see that.
Set your hit points to 0, and then if you click on your hit points, you should see there is a little, what's it? It's the little red skull at the center.
Okay, so I see it. So there's I already have one failure automatically. Do I need to mark that?
Yes, you would lose a failure from hitting the ground. Um, it's the little B between failures and successes will roll a death save.
Okay, and do I am I like right clicking that or something to how
Should
do I
be a
make
normal left click. Yep. That would have killed you had you rolled that um, privately, but I need you to roll um, as a whisper. So set Beyond 20, the little red B in D&D Beyond, or set the little red B in roll 20 and go to whisper rolls and select that to always whisper. Or in roll 20, just go to the polyhedron and click GM at the top left, and that will whisper just a normal D20 roll.
when I click the red D20 and D&D Beyond, it gives me a disadvantage, normal advantage, and roll with super disadvantage and roll with super advantage. I'm not seeing anything that allows
Click
me to.
all options then. Whisper rolls is the top of mine when you just click it. If you open up the full options, Whisper rolls should still be at the very top of that screen.
Hey, sorry, I'm not seeing full options. Is that under a different drop
All right,
down
hold up.
menu?
Don't even do it in D&D Beyond. Right now, I don't want, just go over to in roll 20. There's a polyhedron. Click on that. You should see GM at the top left. You see that? Bam. That is gold. And we're going to go to one of the little guys is going to swoop up and past Terran and try to stab you with its beak. It should be successful, and it's going to do 6 piercing damage to you. I'm not really sure at this point. Have you two used your reactions?
Jarek wasn't holding one, but I think Taryn was for this turn.
Yeah, and I haven't used it yet, so I would
Yeah,
like
so
to attack.
strike out at that guy. Solid hits, and with sneak attack, that will be a kill. This one as well is swooping down or swooping up at Terran. Beak attack should hit with the 20. Claws going to hit as well. Holy shit! 6 damage from the beak and 8 damage from the claws.
I am down.
Ooh. I didn't actually think about what terminal velocity is, or how far a character actually falls in 6 seconds. That's an interesting one. I wonder if Silhouette didn't actually hit the ground yet. I wonder if a halfling has a different terminal velocity than a human. Has anybody ever dropped a halfling from an airplane?
Can't say that I have done that. No.
It says 54 meters per second for the typical human.
Anyone dropped a
Yeah,
small
that's
child?
in 6 seconds. That will 100% hit the ground at these heights. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I think the same thing is going to happen as it swoops through. Terran is going to fall in the same way and crash to the ground. Um, let's see. Guys are, I feel like they're about that same height. 90 feet. 27 damage shouldn't be enough for an auto kill. Yeah, so I think Terran is going to lose a death save here. As you plummet to the ground. Yeah, again, the vertical one, it was only ever meant to be simply for the up and down. It was not meant to give like a relation to where you guys were. I was trying to match the beasts up near you so I could actually try to keep track of them like as a number, and that failed miserably. Um, yeah, was that little guy? I feel like that was that little guy. I think it's on Jarek.
So I think Jarek is gonna go. He saw a silhouette fall, and now and Taryn fall. It's like a moment ago. So he's gonna go kind of almost like dive bombing down towards the canopy floor. He's gonna uh use his action to dash. So she's trying to get like 60 feet down.
Roll a d4 for me, Jarek. Anything else from you as you dash down?
I think he's going to. I mean, at this point, I might as well. I'm going to action surge and keep moving.
Gotcha. I feel like that puts you at the ground. Yeah, it looks like that's it.
Yeah, that just reaches the ground for me. And that's all I can do.
Taryn.
Oh wait. Oh no, nope, never mind. I forgot. I can't do the rally thing because they're both down. So
Yeah. Taryn, same idea. Let me get you set up Whisper and roll either a d20 with roll 20 or a death save from D&D Beyond. And it can stay a whisper, but it doesn't have to be. Can you roll a d4 for me, Taryn? Yeah, I don't see any other way to do it than this creature is going to fly up to Silhouette and try to spear it with its mouth and then rake it with its claws. Beak should hit with a 21, and that's going to be 2 more death saves gone and a dead Silhouette.
Alrighty.
I think the next one is just going to lift the body and fly off with it. Another one just kind of swooping down, and it'll go to Jarek.
all right, so Jarek is going to kind of feverishly try to. Well, I don't know. Seeing these things. Oh no, he probably wouldn't have seen what happened with Silhouette, but
Roll a d4 for me, actually, first. I am actually going to surround you with Yuan Ti at this point, and we are going to be capturing the entire group at this point.
okay.
That one was my attempt at trying to prevent actual deaths here, because the Yuan Ti have been watching you, but they missed Silhouette there. And I think that's going to be a point where let's take a immediate break here, and kind of take some time. Chris, do you have any other character concepts in mind right now?
Uh, I really didn't. I mean, I can come up with something fairly quickly. I'm assuming they're being taken prisoner, so would you be bringing me in as another prisoner, likely?
Yeah, effectively at this point, I'm going to bring you all into Omu as prisoners. Um, my main thing is, though, is I would rather not see a third rendition of the same character.
Oh, yeah,
Just how
I
things have played
agree.
out. So let's take some time here. If you need a little bit more than the normal kind of like 15-minute break to roll a character, that is perfectly fine. But in general, like if you have character concepts in mind, it can start pretty generic to get the game actually moving forward. You don't have to have a full concept set up. But in general, like if you can start moving forward, I think I am going to use this as a way to bring you all into Omu as prisoners of the Yuan-Ti.
Okay, I think I had an idea that just popped into my head, so let me see what I can do.
I was
Um,
I was trying to get to you both, but
this is just as much one of those problems with, I don't think that was a terribly difficult encounter, but it was a dangerous encounter. And it's one of those things where the dice did not really work out in anybody's favor. But they were definitely going my way regularly. And that's also one of those things where I have to try to remind you all, killing stuff is the best way to heal. I think that definitely was far more dangerous because I did not have in mind the damage that you already took from the Yuan-Ti. But also like losing players, I don't think that I mean, the original encounter had a lot more stuff in it, and this was pretty well backtracked. But at the same time, like that's one of those weird things where like those little guys, those were basically one-hit wonders. To let those things still be assaulting you guys, even the big things, they don't have that many hit points. I don't think you guys were putting attacks down. And that's one of those big things like in 5th edition, you can't out heal damage. You have to kill stuff. I'm not trying to like be mean about it, but that was one of those encounters I thought you guys could win that in like 3 turns. But also like holding reactions, it gives you guys better shots, but it doesn't mean that you can't like pull out bows and shoot these things out of the sky too. My bad. I saw that combat going very drastically different. I don't mean to be an asshole about it.
yeah, I mean, the reason I healed myself was because I figured I'm the only healer among the three of us, so I wanted to hopefully because after that first hit, I was essentially one more hit, very easily could have dropped me, and then when I healed Taryn, I don't know, just felt like by that point it seemed like I don't know, like I don't even know if there's anything within range of me at that point. So it's tough with the flybys because because it even kind of even skews the action economy a little bit more because we have to sometimes if they get and they have it seemed like especially the big ones had like a lot of movement so they could essentially fly down, hit us, and then almost get out of range again.
Well, that's
Um,
why I mean like having the bows. Switching over to bows I think would have been drastically different story there. But yeah, the little ones have 60 foot, the big ones have 90 foot of movement. Those things soar.
Yeah. So we probably would have been better off in the beginning, essentially giving up a round to get outranged weapons and trying to fight off from there.
That's kind of precisely what I mean. That's part of why I wanted to bring it up is like as an opportunity to learn rather than be an ass about it. But like the idea of fighting these things in the trees and not switching to range, I think was among the most dangerous things. But that's one of those things where you guys were between like the fire and what is it, out of the frying pan into the fire. Um, there was no good option for how to treat these things because, I mean, realistically, a lot of flying things have flyby because they're predators. They're meant to attack stuff like this. It's not supposed to be somebody who like hangs out by you and like flutters in your face. These are things that are like just like these things do. They're basically darts kind of flying up or down at you at any given time.
Yeah, yeah. All right, I'll be back in a couple minutes. Make some more coffee.
And I'll still be here. I won't be moving.
Okay, so after being brought across the jungle for some amount of days, you all are going to eventually step foot on stone for one of the first times. After this long kind of trek through the mud and the actual like undergrowth. After some time, you will basically descend down a long set of staircases with a general idea that you're descending kind of deep into the earth. But you still hear the general sounds of the jungle around you. I think you all would know enough that at that point you are indeed descending down into Omu, in that the city itself is basically sunk a few hundred feet into the earth, almost making a large kind of like divot into the ground. As you kind of pass through the jungles or through this next area, there's going to be times where you're walking on soft earth, times where you're walking on stones. Much of the time you're going to almost be stumbling through like vine growth on top of like rough broken stone that is like almost forgotten with time, in that there's like dirt almost starting to reclaim it. And again, this is going to be some of the things that are enough of the kind of knowledge that you have with Omu being lost for so long that it's kind of cluing you in further and further that you're in this place that it's not taken care of. Until at some point the jungle sounds are going to kind of disappear. There's going to start to be echoes to your footsteps, and you'll start to gain a sense that you are actually walking down into the earth. The stonework is going to be less and less kind of like rubbled as you more and more clearly are walking into um, perhaps not like a newer temple or some such, but it's at least kept care of. And at some point, you're going to start to hear this long kind of sliding drone of where you're basically stop while this kind of sound happens. The Yuan-Ti will kind of pull you all forward by your chains. You're going to be kind of pulled off to your left and walked for some time before you are kind of like moved across in this area where you can hear the flow of perhaps water as you hear this kind of trickling sound. And then after some time, there's going to be another kind of sound of moving. I think with this one, it'll be a little bit more kind of metal against stone, almost like the sound of like sharpening your weapons against your whetstone kind of sound. And after a few moments, each of you, one after the other, are going to be pushed. You will fall, and perhaps like knocking yourself against the stones as you kind of fall. You're going to fall about 10 feet, landing on people, landing in water, landing in kind of this open area. As you all start to gain your senses, you're going to basically feel with every footstep that you are standing in a little bit of stagnant water. It smells horrendous, like body odor, like filth and refuse. and you can kind of hear immediately as there are other people inside of this area where you have been thrown. I would like each of you to roll a d4. Actually, roll 2d4 because you each have your sidekicks with you as well. And then let's see. Um, what would we got? Let's go for one more d4 from all of you. Taryn, your sidekick is Serge.
That is right.
And then Jarek, your sidekick is Zeros.
Yep.
What is the name of your elf?
Vara.
I heard Bar and then it cut off.
Vara.
Bara?
Vara with a V as in Victor.
Gotcha, gotcha. And then the name of the gnome or the halfling?
Jarty.
So, as everyone is kind of thrown into these little areas, kind of recovering your senses in the darkness, let me have each of you roll a d6, please. Alrighty. So, in each of these, you all are going to basically find out over the next few moments as you're thrown into these pits that you're not here with everybody. So in one of these pits, we have Zeros, Vara, and Jarti, as well as three people that none of you all know. Another of these pits is going to be Island and one other person. Technically, I'm not really sure what's going on with Carlos. If he ends up being part of this, we'll throw him in. Same with Rin if Darcy ever comes back. Um, and then in another one, we are going to have Taryn, Serge, Jarek, Killen, and three other people that you don't know. And then in another one, Eku is going to be with one other person. So you all are kind of thrown into these dark little chambers. What do you all have in mind as you are kind of dropped into these pits?
I'm assuming it is basically like we're in darkness.
Yep, that's correct.
So I think Jarek's first kind of thought is he'll like call out, trying to figure out who is in here, and then he'll want to try and kind of almost like feel around, trying to get the dimensions of this. Like, is it like he's trying to get like, is it a fairly open area? Is it fairly closed in tight?
Yeah, so it wouldn't take you long to find Taryn, Serge, and Killen inside of there. The other three people you're going to find as they seem a little bit more kind of like downtrodden and haven't kind of given up hope. But you can certainly hear like at least little sounds from them and signs of them. But if you want to feel around, roll a intelligence check for me.
You'll know Jarek's a little claustrophobic, so
So, as you kind of feel around this pit, you gain a pretty solid sense that it is maybe like 8 to 12 feet wide, and it seems to be a circle. As you kind of go around, you're not finding any edges. It doesn't seem to be stone, nor does it seem to be like mud. It kind of has a little bit of like a slippery feel to it, but still has a bit of hardness.
Gotcha. And are we still in chains at this point? Like, are we in leg irons, hands, stuff like that?
You are indeed.
Terran, uh, seeing as he would probably start checking for any possible thief tools that he could still have on his body if they manage to get everything of them.
Where did Darren keep his thieves' tools?
Well, a bit spread out, like in his boots, couple in his belt, and like lining up his shirt, things like that.
Roll a sleight of hand. So as you start searching, you find one, two, three, four. You've got most of the pieces of your toolkit. Most of what you've kept hidden are still hidden on your person.
Oh, Chris, I don't know if it matters, but I think you're still on whisper.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah, that is the
yeah,
whispered
I
one.
am. That's weird. It should be asking me. I put it to ask me every time, and it didn't ask. Okay.
Oh, that's psychotic. I definitely think it should be the type of thing. Just toggle it between always and never. It's very rare that you have to use it, so. So
I
as
didn't
you start to
actually.
look,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
nope, you're good. What were you thinking?
Oh no, it wasn't. It wasn't in game. I didn't know about the GM thing on the polyhedron roll 20. So that's a good to know option too. So sorry.
Yeah, I've seen that one there for ages, and I think I first tried to use it like a few months ago to figure out how simple that was. The fudge on that one, I have no clue what it's meant to be. The fudge is definitely seems to be a broken idea on there.
Yeah, sorry, I just had to check so that it didn't whisper now. But yeah, it works.
So as you are figuring out that you still have your tools, are you going to try to unlock your manacles?
Not right now. I still feel like we should know more where we are. But uh, Jarek called out like asking for anyone was there, right? As he walked around.
Yep, some level you all would be in communication at this point. Jarek, Serge, Taryn, and Killen would recognize that at least four of you are together.
Yeah, so it's dark, so I can't really see him. Yeah, I'm not gonna mention that yet, so I'm keeping that for myself. And I'm gonna wait a bit until we figure out more where we are before I free our manacles, if I can free our manacles.
And I think Jarek will, after kind of finding out that. Oh wait, never mind. It's he doesn't know. He doesn't know Vara yet, unless they met on the thing, the walk. Um, but he would probably try calling out for like the others that aren't in that pit. Like he doesn't know how far away. Maybe there's like another pit or something. So he's going to try and like call out a little more loudly, trying to almost make contact with anybody who might be within hearing outside of their immediate environs.
Make a performance check. Going at disadvantage, but yeah, word. I think as you call out, you're going to hear sort of a odd kind of like muffling of this sound, and it feels kind of like it doesn't go anywhere. Kind of giving you a bit of a sense that like you're almost buried underground inside of where this is. But at first, you aren't going to hear anything in response. And then after a few moments, you'll hear the voice of Eku. We are near you, my friend. They have separated us. I am with another. I sense we are all close.
So Jarek will quietly relay that to Taryn and Surge and Killen, not to try not to, you know, um, not to alert the other three strangers. Just trying to kind of whisper it to to the people he knows, and he'll try and kind of return a message, sort of mentally, to Echo to just to acknowledge that he heard her.
I don't think it works like that. But okay. You certainly try.
Yeah, yeah. He would. I don't think he would know how it works. So he would. Yeah, he would like scrunch his eyes up, like, and try to like almost, yeah, mentally kind of deliver
You
a
poop
message
a
that no
little
one
bit.
can hear.
Like, oops, came out the wrong end. But yeah, you get that like confirmation as you kind of yell out that on some level you all are nearby. Um, how long do you all expect you are kind of waiting to learn new things? What are you kind of moving forward with as you're inside of this dark, dank hole?
Tyrant would probably be, well, restless by 10 minutes, so he would probably just shout out like to anyone who could hear. This is a terrible place. We haven't even been fed yet. I mean, come on, what kind of service can we expect here?
And I think Jarek would be trying to essentially kind of like feel around in the stagnant water, kind of like hoping that maybe there's like, a loose shard of stone or even like a bone or almost any. He's essentially looking for any kind of like improvised weapon that he might be able to find, and just kind of like scrabbling blindly in like the water and stuff.
I don't think it would be difficult to find something that can perhaps be an improvised weapon. I don't think most of what you're going to find is going to be the type of things that you want to touch in that water. Um, but yeah, let's go for it. You can certainly find something. Um, roll a d20. It feels kind of like a like shank of sorts, perhaps like a femur that's kind of split and broken in a sharp enough point.
All right. Yeah. So Jarek will kind of he'll take that. He'll try not to think about all the other stuff that he touched in, before he found that. But
Yeah, you have
and
a
if
pretty solid understanding that your hands are probably diseased at this point.
yeah, and then if we're still in like if we still have like our basic clothing and stuff, he'll try to kind of, hide that as best he can, like, under fabric or something, depending on, what they've been left with. Otherwise, he might just kind of like try to find like, a place where he can kind of stick it and stay close to it so that it's, he to try to avoid losing it again.
Gotcha. So what do you want to do with it?
Uh Nothing immediately. I think he would probably knowing Taryn, he would kind of ask Taryn like, you know, any way you can get us out of these chains.
I mean, yeah, probably. As long as there's not anything magical on him. I think there's a fair chance I can get us out, but kind of don't want to do it too hastily, though. Kind of want to wait for the opportune moment where we might do something with it.
Is there a way to get them unlocked but leave them looking like they're still secured?
I could try, and at that Tyron would pick out one of his thieves' tools and basically try to do that. Pick the lock, but keep them on so it doesn't look like they've been tampered with.
So I think in the long run, you can certainly get things set up. It's not going to be foolproof. You all aren't necessarily lacking for time here. So if that is the overall goal, are you doing like Taryn, Jarek, Killin, Zeros, these three other people? What are you kind of thinking? Who are you freeing?
I'm, yeah, gonna free everyone, I think. Yeah, I'm gonna free everyone. But while I'm freeing the three people we don't know, I'm gonna caution them to be careful and not show that they're free.
Roll a persuasion. If we are taken before Rasni and he sees us as dangers, we will all be killed. He will not tolerate anyone who is dangerous. But if we are good workers that keep us, we will work through the temple and be returned to live another day.
If that's how you want it, I could put the shackles back on you again, so you could say that you had nothing to do with it, if that helps. Helps. I can speak.
Yeah, I think with that, one of them, the one who basically was just speaking, is just going to kind of snap their manacles back to, letting the latch kind of reapply.
Jarek's gonna look towards Taryn and kind of quiet, be like, after hearing this from the others, suggest that perhaps we should do the same. Know a bit more about just what our situation is.
So one of the others who Terran's like already freed is going to look to you. You are not going to try to escape?
Well, we'll only get one shot. Just trying to figure out when the best opportunity might be.
Yeah, the thing is, we don't even know the layout of this place. So even if we try to bust out right now, we might just be running into something even worse than where we are right now.
Am I in this cell or am I in a different cell?
You are in a cell with effectively four people you don't know. It is Vara, Jarti, Zeros, and three NPCs.
Oh,
So depending on what you're doing at the same time, like you're still being brought in with that same kind of group of people, but you're not necessarily like socialized to necessarily know who Zeros is. But at the same time, like if you're doing something in your cell, you can certainly let us know.
have I been able to hold on to my holy symbol or has that been taken from me?
What's your holy symbol?
It's a symbol of the moon on a chain. It's like sort of a silver
That would be
pewter
gone.
color. Can I have fashioned something from a stone, uh, or anything like that, or do I just not have it?
Anything that is effectively not like your most basic clothing is gone at this point. You all have been captured as slaves. You are kind of one layer of clothing away from being stripped naked right now.
Um, all right. Well, I will. I'm assuming I've been here a little while. I will just be telling whoever these new people are in the cell with me to keep courage. That the light of Elune will eventually lead us to freedom. Sorry, say.
What is Zeros's um, current thoughts there?
So I think Zeros he's looking at the manacles and stuff, and he's trying to figure out whether they're going to restrict the movements that he would need to make in order to cast his um, spell.
Do you want to try?
So at first he's trying to figure out without actually doing the motions, but if he can't, then he will kind of like warn people. He'll try to like kind of move off to a not a corner because it's circular, but an unoccupied area near the wall and just try to like surreptitiously do the actual motions and see if it works.
So I think he's just casting Eldritch Blast.
Yes, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, as you go to do these movements, you are able to cast a blast of your magic.
Okay. So Zeros will move over, seeing Vara, seeing that Vara seems to be kind of more um put together than some of the others in here, like some keeping up a better kind of blanking on the word and I'm trying to think of, but
The
uh
composure.
Composure. That's yes, yeah. Like he seems more steadfast, and he's like not really doesn't really seem to be too um, interested in uh, the talk of saloon, but he will kind of make his way over to Vara, kind of introduce himself quietly as give his name as Zeros, kind of tell him he was traveling with Jarek and Taryn, and kind of just try to get him a little briefly kind of up to speed on how he and the others he came in with happened to come into this place.
Roll an intelligence for me. I'm not entirely sure if Zeros has like intelligence where it would be different than a D20, but if you open up his actual character sheet, you should see at least the option.
Yeah, I think it's tens across the board.
Gotcha. I feel like that's good enough to at least recall when Vara mentioned Saloon that you were traveling with another cleric of Saloon.
Oh, right, Island. Yeah. Yeah, so Zeros would definitely kind of tell that uh to Vara. Like I don't know what.
Okay, Vara, by the way, is a female wood elf.
You guys
So
can't see each other. Doesn't really matter.
okay,
No
well,
reason
I
to.
actually I can see him unless we're in like
No, you guys
darkness.
are in total darkness. I don't care about elves being able to see in darkness here. You guys are in total darkness.
Okay.
That's part of why the world needs light. You need light. You can't operate in places like this. You guys are being held prisoner. Same reason you don't have your holy symbol. These creatures are wise enough to understand what is going on here.
All right. Well, I will say I am pleased to meet you, Zeros, though under very unfortunate circumstances. I was taken from the valley in which I lived, and me and my companion, who is nearby, Gajarti, um, have been here for several days, I think, but it is so hard to tell in this darkness. Um, are you injured?
Well, I'm sure I've smelled better, but no, I don't seem to be physically hurt, and can keep a secret. It seems that we get a chance, may be able to still still be a bit of use if we do try to make a break for it. I no idea what's going on, so we're probably not much we can do until we figure out just what they've got in store for us.
Indeed. Um, I have some power that may aid us, but all of my equipment has been taken, and I would, at least for the short term, counsel a watching and waiting attitude to see if we can learn more and what they have in store for us. Though, of course, you always run that risk that what they have in store for us is to take us out of the cell and kill us immediately.
Yes, I guess we'll have to hope that if their intention was simply to kill us, we'd be dead already.
Indeed.
So back at the other pit with Yarek Terran and Serge. I lost track already. Yeah, Serge. Um, you all have kind of freed yourselves. Where are the three of you kind of sitting on? Are you going to attempt to escape? Are you going to continue to just kind of like set yourselves to wait here? with your manacles effectively off.
So I think Jarek might using the kind of the trying to use the femur that he found. He's going to try and test the walls and try to see how solid they are. Is it like can they be gouged into? They seem like slippery, so it'd probably be very difficult to climb as is. But he wants to try and see if there's a way to essentially kind of like carve in like a handholds almost. Just like kind of testing it. He doesn't want to break the thing, so he's going to be hesitant, but he wants to see like it didn't feel like stone, but he's not really sure what it's made of, so he's just trying to get a better sense of that.
Do you have a background that would work towards that at all? I don't feel like you have anything that would like give you extra clues, but if you want to do an intelligence, I think that's what you're kind of looking at.
Yeah, he's none of his tool proficiencies. I mean, he's proficient with thieves' tools, but that doesn't really seem like this. So
Yeah, it would be anything more like towards like stonework, like masonry, kind of anything that would give you like carpentry, anything that gives you like that kind of thing. Um, so kind of feeling through it, this you're kind of driven to the idea that with like the contact of the bone against it, you can kind of like hit like the metal of the manacles against it. Um, kind of come to the conclusion that these walls seem to be ceramic. And with that kind of in mind, you now kind of have a sense that there's almost these are almost like bells where they are big circles at the bases. They get a little bit narrower towards the top, and then the center top part is probably the narrowest, as like any given one of you would have been kind of thrown into those walls in the initial part of your fall. So you have a pretty solid idea where at some point perhaps these things were kind of like dug out, set into the actual earth here, and then kind of buried. And you guys are on the inside of one of these little bells. As far as breaking it with the bone to carve in handholds, I don't think you could necessarily do that, but you do certainly have a chance to try to climb out of there if you would like to try. I guess realistically, if you wanted to try to carve handholds, you're looking at quite a bit of time here. This is like across like a prison sentence that you could create handholds.
right, yeah. So yeah, he was almost kind of hoping it was something softer that he would be able to like clay rather than um yeah. Obviously, if he had like months and months, maybe he could make a dent in it, but he doesn't want to obviously
I
wait that
think
long.
that's where it could have been the type of thing where like this thing was like created and fired, and the clay is hardened, where it's like almost stone. Um, you don't know like what level of the ceramic it is, but like with how it is, yeah, it's got like certainly has slippery qualities to it.
Yeah, just yeah, more like hoping for kind of less resistance, something more pliable. Um, yeah, he's gonna look towards Taryn, and he's gonna say I can try to climb this if you think it's worth trying to get some better sense of where we are.
I mean, that could be a good idea. Are you sure you can climb this? Or do you want me to try?
I'm not at all sure if might be a better climber than I am, but one of us should try and see if we can make it.
All right, I think I should do it. I have some experience climbing, and I am smaller, so hopefully a little less noticeable as I climb out.
Roll a. Does Terran have athletics? No. Hmm. Roll a dexterity check for me.
And I know Jarrett can't see him, but can he attempt to essentially stand under where he thinks he's climbing and try to, by sound, like says he wants to try
For
and
what
catch him
it's
if he
worth,
goes to fall?
that's as simple as basically telling him to make sounds so you can try to be there. So yes, you can certainly do something like that. Were he to fall, it would certainly be at disadvantage because you are blind to where he is. But yeah, like if you guys are actively thinking of bracing his fall, it's definitely the type of thing where you can basically like say, you know, breathe extra loud or make a clicking sound as you're moving. You know what I mean? There's plenty of things that, yes, you can certainly try to echolocate him. Um, but you are going to be able to climb up these walls, making your way up and into kind of a central portion where it's much easier for you to basically just brace across each side of a smaller kind of tunnel towards the top. And that's kind of the point where for you, it's kind of arms and legs like fully extended, almost like a tipped over H, where your body is kind of like vertical, your legs are kind of horizontal to the ground, and your arms are parallel to your legs like that. But you can basically like kind of shimmy up that, and you can get to the top. Let me get a strength check from Taryn. And what is your strength? Is it 10 or is it 11?
It's 11.
Gotcha. So as you kind of get to this top, you are going to feel the kind of like slightly chilled, I guess it would actually be kind of warmer, but you would feel the like metal of a grate across the top here. There is the slightest bit of like a little bit of light kind of coming in from this top area. And as you kind of like look up through this grate, you can kind of see that there is a room, probably about 5 or 10 feet to your right. You can see a wall. You can't see a wall kind of like straight ahead of you. You can see the wall is just a few feet to the left of you. And if you kind of shimmy around to look behind you, you can see that that wall is almost in the same spot. So you have a pretty solid idea that you are in like this kind of lower left hand side of an otherwise square looking room. The light is on kind of your right, and as you're kind of looking around, you see yeah, I think at that point you're going to see Echo outside of the little compartment, kind of looking back down at you with a little bit of a smile on her face, and she's like, you're thinking similar thoughts. And she's actually going to slip into coatl form and kind of fall through the grates and come down into this cube with you all.
Oh, that is certainly handy.
So I can't speak to Larry, who is alone, but that was the first person that I rolled that she would visit. She is going to come down and kind of share with you all that Eileen is isolated in another compartment that is effectively the northwestern or northeastern of these little compartments. And she was kind of directly to the east of you all, to the right of where you were. And she has not gone to the other one, but she's basically going to kind of drop down in through here, create a little bit of. She doesn't have light. Um, yeah, so once she kind of falls in, you guys are back into the darkness. But she'll kind of like take that moment to look everyone over and kind of say effectively to see whether you all are interested in trying to do anything, um, trying to make your escape. She can't quite open these grates, but if Taryn can make his way to the top, the two of them should be able to do it.
Yeah, and assuming that when she visits Zeros, Zeros will kind of get.
Wait, no,
Uh,
no, that's the one she has not gone to yet.
Gotcha. Okay.
The first one I rolled, she was in the bottom right. She went to the top right and would have seen Island there with another NPC, and then I rolled and she came to the bottom left. So this is the first time any of the players who are here are actually interacting with Eku. But she would
Gotcha.
basically be able to tell you that I guess really she kind of actually knows with telepathy. But she would be able to tell you that Zeros is in that other compartment to the north of where you guys are.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I think that one would have 5 people that this group currently doesn't know. 2 of those would be Chris's characters. So with that kind of like initial moment there, let's jump back to where Zeros, Vara, and what was it, Body
Jarty.
and Jarti are. What are you all presently doing?
If I have a little leftover food, I will give some to Zeros.
I have no reason for you to have food.
Okay, so no food.
You guys are
I
slaves. You're
tell
stripped
you,
of everything.
I tell Zeros that if I had some food, surely I would share it with him. Um,
Are Zeros or Vara able to hear anything from up top that suggests like Taryn's made it up?
What's the passive perception for Vara?
17.
I think it would be enough that you can hear some things up above. I don't think in particular you would necessarily know exactly what's currently going on. But effectively, kind of like in those few moments of Terran like making his way up, um, Eku's response was to get him back down to communicate like quieter in a quieter situation as fast as possible. So I think that would present the least amount of information to the others at this point. Um, but I mean, if we continued with the other group, her next trip is to that other one. But my question was to go back to this to actually see like how patiently waiting they currently are.
My general thoughts on all this is to wait patiently and just see when we're taken out of our cages for now. It might get more desperate as we starve to death, and I'll try and escape, but at the moment, that's not my intention.
Yeah, I mean, while you guys were like captured as slaves, you were not prevented from eating food. You guys just don't have anything to yourselves. You are captured creatures, but they were also not necessarily like starving you to death. Is Zeros more or less in that same feel of patiently waiting?
I mean, yeah, I don't think he's. I don't. He doesn't think he'd be able to to climb up. He's ready to defend himself, but at this point, I think he's more waiting. Yeah.
Gotcha. So then, with that, I think for what it is worth, we would then just pop back to that other group and see uh, with Eku coming down into this compartment, giving you all the information. That's part of why I moved you over to the map so you can now see, giving you all the information. You have like a little, I guess I don't have it revealed enough, but like a little bit of a kind of portcullis locking off this room on the left side of it, on the western side. But overall, what are the thoughts going through the two of your heads? Are you still interested in trying to make an escape? Do you want to try to get everybody together? What sort of thoughts are you guys thinking?
So Jarek is thinking, yeah, if we can get up, then either, there may be, he may have the element of surprise right now. So maybe we try to make our escape now, or alternative, try to, if somebody is eventually going to come in this way to get the slaves, try and hit them as they come in. But he would suggest that, yeah, we should try and get everybody up if we can.
Yeah, I'm down with that. Not terribly fond of prisons in any shape or form.
Gotcha. So yeah, if we take a few moments, Eku can return to the Coatl form, and effectively move up towards the ceiling with. I mean, realistically, she can take Jarek up there, and the two of you. What's your like? Is Jarek? Jarek should be beefier and stronger than Taryn, correct?
I mean, he's weighs about
Do you have any like modifier to your strength?
oh yeah, +1.
Yeah,
He's
so
12 strength.
that's what I mean. Like, without knowing your actual numbers, like the modifier means that you actually have like evident musculature kind of thing. So yeah, she'll kind of fly you towards the top, brace you against the actual roof before you see her kind of like slither through the actual grating. And from up top, she's going to pull while you push. You are going to get a sense that this grate is stupid heavy, and it takes pretty much all of the strength that the two of you have, but you are able to open it. And with that, I think for what it is worth, she can start to shuttle the different people up and out of that. Are you all bringing the slaves with you, the other slaves?
Altair would go first. Ask them just, do you want to come with us? I know some of you were a bit afraid, but this is a chance for freedom. And if you don't take it now, not really sure when you'll be able to take it ever again.
So yeah, if you are offering it, I don't see why the two who were into it wouldn't go. Let me get another persuasion from you though. Um that's okay. I'll give you a 50-50. Odd they don't go, even they go. Roll a die for me. So you are going to get the three to kind of give in, and they will follow you out here. And then with that, I think think from there you guys can start systematically opening all of these. Two people at a time can pretty well open most of those grates from up above. So you guys can start to open those and start to shuffle people out. I don't know how this is gonna work. Let's see. We've got a total of 6, 7, 8 NPCs. Word. So at this point, you all can pretty much pull everybody out. Let me get an intelligence from, for what it's worth, all three of you, but effectively, Chris, I'm having you roll for Island.
Let's see, which
That,
Chris?
the other one. Effectively, with those two rolls, that's good enough for you all to recognize that as you pull everybody from these pits, about the only member of your group who you all are not going to see here is Kroot is missing. Apparently, your little druid friend was not brought in, got away, or perhaps was less lucky about how things played out. So with everybody out of um these little prison cells, you all have this kind of room before you. There are grates that kind of drop out of, they seem to go from ceiling to floor between you and this next room. The hall that it kind of blocks off is just a few feet, like 5 feet long. And the ceiling is about 10 feet up and down with these metals bars. What do you have in mind?
Let's see. I want to inspect the grates. Like, do they swing open? Do they go up or down? Or is there some kind of mechanism to open them? Or are they just locked?
Do a perception. You can't quite tell whether they go up into the ceiling or whether they go down into the floor, but their action is to move up and down.
Well, if they're moving up and down, they should have some kind of mechanism to open them up. Can I spot any kind of mechanism in the room or like outside of the grates, the other side? Like a lever or a winch or I don't know.
From what you can tell in here, there's nothing that kind of gives you any clue as to what is currently happening, like how to manipulate that.
Sorry, and we don't see any. Were there any doors at this level where we are? Sorry.
Oh, I have one more part kind of hidden here. My bad. No, the only like door seems to be that actual like grating to the west. Um, my bad. That little corridor to the top of you all seems to be just like a circular pad with a coiled up snake in like the stonework.
Gotcha. Okay. Must be some way to get up, but they need to bring the slaves out. Jarek's attention will kind of be drawn to that pad with the snake, and I guess he's going to go over and take a look at that. Um, see what he can make of it. If it looks like, yeah, see if he sees any like buttons or anything around it.
Tyrone will just call out to Yarrick as he moves there. Be careful, Yarrick. Don't step on it. I don't trust it. Anything with a coiled snake on it. Could be. Yeah, just be careful.
Jarek will nod, so he'll essentially try to get close, but not step on the actual circular area.
So my bad. When you initially moved up to it, did you actually do anything to it?
I was more looking to see if there were any like buttons or anything like on the wall around it in that little kind of alcove that it's located in.
Gotcha. Yeah. So the wall itself is going to be just kind of like smooth worked stone in kind of a semicircle. As far as kind of looking around, the actual like snake doesn't appear to be much of anything going on. This room overall is pretty austere, besides that little coiled snake and then the four grates that kind of drop down on top of these little prison cells.
Mr. Jarek will relay that to the others. Kind of, it's going to look up towards the ceiling. Are there any other like apertures, openings?
The room inside, that little bit of light doesn't even really reach to the ceiling in this place.
Oh yeah,
But
I
you
keep
have a
forgetting.
pretty solid sense that the ceiling is probably just as sparse, but realistically, the bit of light that it's creating, it's not even casting far enough up to reach the ceiling.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot. We're still in darkness. So Jarek's gonna kind of say to the others, if we, I can't see any other way up besides maybe that thing is some sort of elevator or
Or pitfall. Could be a pitfall too. Uh, Let me just check. Tyrone would check the grades again. Oh, yeah, grades. Just to see how wide enough, if there's space between the bars, basically. How wide
Like
there
to
is.
get out of the room.
Yeah, the one on the west.
I feel like that's one of those classic. There's no reason to assume that they would be um too small or too big rather. Um yeah, I feel like the way they would be spaced out, you can't get through.
Yeah, I guess that check. They have proved it. But yeah, okay.
So I think this is one of those points where I think the difference would actually be for Eku that you could send her through. Damn, this character's just too powerful. She is going to be able to sense that there are four creatures hidden in that room just beside you all. So at some point here, I think she is systematically going to start to contact you all telepathically to basically be saying, I don't know why, I don't know for how long, but there are four Yuan Ti who are watching, listening, and allowing us to do this.
Well, that doesn't sound very good. Did they just watch? Unless they don't think we can actually get out. Or if the only way out is some place very much worse than where we are right now.
As perhaps they're simply toying with us, or perhaps this is some sort of test.
Well, whatever it is, I think we have to do something with that uh,
Well,
plate up north. The cold snake. Oh, uh,
if
yeah. Sorry, you can go.
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I think Jarek's gonna be like, well, if they know we're here, maybe we might as well talk to them, see what the hell's is going on.
I mean, last time we talked to John T, they basically just told us to, well, offer ourselves up as slaves. So, but yeah, I mean, you can go for it. I'm gonna try out that whatever that is with the snake. But you can,
Gotcha. So you're like walking onto it? What are you doing? Trying out it?
I'm not gonna walk onto it properly. I'm basically gonna take one foot and like try to press down on it, see if it reacts to pressure.
Gotcha. Putting your foot on it, nothing seems to happen. Roll an Arcana check for me. And so as you push down with your foot and just kind of like wait to see if something happens, but nothing does. Kind of step back. Seems just like a odd ornamentation.
I think Jarek is going to. He will, having seen Taryn head that way, he would have waited to see what happens, and then when he sees that kind of nothing appears to happen, he's going to move over toward the grate and, or not the grate, the yeah, to the west, and he's just going to essentially call out in common, like growl out like enjoying the show, trying to make contact with the creatures that Eku has alerted them are on the other side.
Make a intimidation. Just going to have silence. Nothing seems to have changed.
I think he's going to call out again, like, where are you? Why are you holding us here? Really sure what else to say.
So I think with that, you're going to hear a response from within of, you have the of being slave to Rasni. You have been welcome to the Lord Grenar's temple. You can live as slaves or die to feed the night serpent.
Like Jarek's going to look back towards the others, Taryn and Vara, trying to get a sense of what they're thinking here after hearing that response.
Did we hear that?
Yeah, everybody heard that one.
Okay. Can I see anybody up on our roof? Can we see up there, or is that just a voice we're hearing?
Just a voice from nowhere at this point. At best, you all can gather that there's somebody speaking to you all from that room to the left.
I call out as loudly as I can so anybody adjacent can hear me, saying, um, "The light will always find us, and where there is light, there is hope."
When you say the light will always find us, this room is going to plummet into darkness, and you all will be in complete and utter darkness again. Enjoy.
Tara will pipe up at that and just go, "Oh, thank you very much. I did not like the light too much there, kind of grating on my eyes. And to be honest, it's such an honor to be your slave. So, honestly, it's such an honor that I would be more than welcome to trade it with you, so that you can take my place instead. Just think about it. It's such an honor."
You guys are going to hear kind of like stumbling, falling, and kind of shrieks of pain as a few of the other slaves seem to be kind of like making their way for these pits and almost like throwing themselves back in, like begging for kind of forgiveness for leaving these pits.
Jarek is going to try to feel his way kind of to the side of the grates leading to the west, like just on the essentially on the other side of it. Doesn't trust himself to say anything more, but he's gonna essentially try to feel his way over there in the darkness.
Gotcha. So you're just trying to get to the left side of that room?
Right. Yeah. Kind of
Gotcha.
not
And
directly in front of the grate or the bars.
gotcha. Roll a perception check. So you're pretty sure that you walked in the correct way to get over to the bars. You don't feel them specifically, but as you kind of like reach out to the walls, you're in the center of the wall. You're pretty sure you should. But what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, Jarek is he's he doesn't want to stay. He doesn't want to be a slave. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to be eaten. He's essentially just kind of like grasping that kind of shattered bone, and he's just kind of like, um, someone's gonna have to come in here eventually and want to get bring us out. So he wants to make his move then.
So the room beside you all is going to light up here, and you are going to hear another kind of hiss from within, and it's going to be you are trying to make things difficult. Snee is not yet your expos- what? Exposition is the wrong word. Expedition. There we go. Your expedition is known to us. You traveled our jungles long enough. Why have you been searching for home?
Uh, Jarek is feeling like the no no sense in lying if they have indeed been kind of observing them possibly. He's gonna say, uh, there's a curse on these lands, and I for one am seeking to end it.
Speak the dead.
Jarek's gonna nod, even though I don't see him in the darkness, but he'll say, kind of sportfully as he can, given their situation. I do.
The dead roam these lands for many years. There are more than humans could ever kill. Why have you come to Homu?
Can Terrence still hear this, or it's just more like to Jarek?
No, this is like This is a Yuan-Ti, like very clearly in the light, standing in front of those grates, and he is speaking towards that room.
Okay, thank you. Just wanted to make sure. Because Terran would pop up, but that just go. Well, we were very graciously invited. You friends even showed us the way here.
Not slide to watch. We've been beside you many nights, many days, always deeper, always towards Somu. You deny invitation to come as guests and slaves. What is your real reason for coming where you don't belong?
Well, I mean, as Yarrick said, we were searching for a curse and a way to undo it. And it was more of a death curse, not exactly the undead, though. More of the whatever curse is making it so that people rot after being resurrected.
Going to hear is the creature kind of like says something in a language that, let's see, what languages does Varano?
Hold on. I believe I know.
Yeah, you're going to hear as this creature is going to kind of turn and saying something in a language. Um, Damn, I feel like if anybody's going to know it at this point, it might be Zeros, but that's one of the problems of they're not really a complete character.
Okay.
But he's going to kind of turn and say something that is definitely not in common, and it has a horrific kind of ring to the ears. Most people would have never heard a language such as this, and as he kind of says this, you're going to see as out of kind of nowhere a snake like human is going to kind of like move, and very quickly you'll see that their skin was almost blended into the wall behind, and the snake is going to move out of the room. You say this curse causes the rot. Death curse on the living.
Yes, we have seen it firsthand in someone having been resurrected, but they still, well, rot away. It's like every day brings them a step closer to death once again, even after being resurrected.
From what I understand, it also prevents the dead from being brought back. We had heard that the source of this curse may have been here, hence why we are here.
So I think the creature is going to look to you and kind of like looking to everyone in the cells. This is going to. You are not ready to see the Lord Hasni. You would do well to return where you belong. Throw yourselves into the pits and await your judgments. The would see Lord Omu stand forth.
So Jarek, in response to this, he's kind of he'll glance at where he thinks like the entrance to the pits is again. He's going to shake his head, kind of mutter to himself, it's like I'll not, I'll not willingly make myself a slave, and then he'll call out in a louder voice out. Well, then let's see this, Lord Rosny. Then, and then he'll, um, yeah, and then he'll wait to see what happens after that.
All right. Vara is deciding that this is the hand we are being dealt right now. She is going to step forward.
So I think this creature is going to once again bathe this room in a magical darkness. And you all are going to one by one be rebound. And you are going to feel the kind of scaly, almost wet, almost slimy hands of different people. Some of them less scaly than others. I guess really no individual is going to feel that. But they are going to rebind you. You all are going to be blindfolded again, and you are going to be walked forth. You will once again hear the slide of that portcullis where you hear the almost whetstone sound of things like grinding as that is raised before they come in to bind you all. You are going to be walked past the light kind of running water and dripping kind of liquid sounds. Anybody who is looking out of that would know that sadly it is actually blood. It is not running water. This place has a fountain of blood that is effectively running through that room. Um, you will be walked down a long corridor that has a echo to it before being turned and walked down to your left. Walking for a little bit longer, you will not be walked in a straight line as they kind of almost keep tugging at you, moving you a little bit further and further to the left as you're walking forward, before moving you just a little bit more so to the left, kind of turning you in that direction, and you are going to start to walk forward. A few people are going to bump into things as you kind of progress forward there. You are pulled to your right, and you're going to start to walk down a little bit of a ramp. Some people are going to slip and kind of fall, sliding for maybe 10 or so feet, not much longer than a few moments of being like kind of off your feet before you kind of take to yourself again. This room has a much louder sort of like echo of the actual like dripping and running of water. There is the smells of incense in the air, iron in the air. At that point, I think anybody who is looking out of that grate has a pretty solid sense that you are in some sort of temple, and it is the temple where this blood is collecting on a much larger level. You will be walked through this room closer and closer to the smell of this like iron just permeating through the air. You are going to feel the heat of a kind of sensor before you are kind of turned a little bit to your left again. More people will probably slide as you kind of go down a little bit more of a stair, and you are once again kind of pulled slightly to your right as you walk across this room, and then they're going to turn you a little bit more to the right. As you hear doors swing open, um, more or less silently, but it's not like amazing construction. It's definitely just not like strained. It's kind of a smooth stone on stone, kind of just turning almost like a millstone. And walking forward for about 50 or 100 or so feet, you all are going to have your blindfolds removed inside of a small chamber. You will be looking towards, you'll be kind of pulled towards your left before they are removed, where to straight ahead, about 30 or so feet, you are going to be staring at a figure whose hind quarters are a large snake's tail. From the kind of chest upward, this seems to be a human, wrapped in bandages almost head to what would be his waist. This person is nearly entirely covered in bandages. Many of them show signs of kind of like a, what is it, green and red make blue? I feel like almost like bluish black, kind of like dried blood on these bandages, showing signs that like if he's not actually wounded, he's like leaking blood through like pustules and through his flesh, and much of the bandages are kind of covering this up. And as you kind of take in this room, there's four pillars in the center area, kind of surrounding where all of you have been kept. There are four lights, one in kind of each cardinal direction, in more or less dim light. You can see that there is the hall that you probably came down to your left, and another exit out of this room seems to lead to a little bit of like lapping water, almost as if like the water kind of comes up to a point where they gave up on constructing, perhaps because they hit the water. And then the bottom side is going to have a similar little alcove with a snake on it, and a very similar, damn, I don't know if I described it as a pentagram, but a like emblem of a coiled snake on it. And that's where we're going to drop off because we'll pick up with the conversation with Rosny next week, hopefully with kind of Larry with you.